ballot.
The other issue was raised by the NAACP, the Montgomery County chapter, and they pointed out actually to the fact that after the redistricting, this is now District 5, a district that is comprised of about 30% African American, continental African residents, and so they do talk about, representation and leadership that should reflect the community. But I think more importantly, it brings up this point of awareness of what would be those particular issues that this part of the community faces, and familiarity with those issues and or insights. And of course, you've already talked about many of the work that you're doing, but if you could elaborate a little bit more in terms of what is your view of specifically the east part of the county, east of 29, of some of the things that do need special attention.
Well, I'm glad that the NAACP weighed in on this, and from what I understand, they were pretty direct and strong about the identity of the candidate. And I think that the NAACP is doing exactly what the NAACP should be doing in that regard. And there's a part of me that resonates very strongly with that, and here's why. We've knocked on thousands of doors in District 5, and as we are doing our work, there's a strange and unfortunate dynamic. When we're out in community and in people's living rooms, we see scores of black folks. I'm just going to say it. We see scores of black folks, right? But when I come here to this space, or I'm in the county executive's building, or I'm at a PTA meeting, or in some other public square space, I don't see that level of presence and participation. And I think part of what's going on is that you have folks who have been from District 5, and I'm speaking particularly now about black folks, who have been at one of two polls. They've been in the process. They have done everything that the process has asked them for generations, right? They've gone to the right schools. They're running the right circles. They work in the right places and all those things. And yet there's still these profound gaps in opportunity and health and, you name it, in achievement. And so I think there's rage on one part, right? And sometimes that shows up in the public square, and folks are a little nervous about it. But then there's many, many other folks, right? Not just black, many, many other folks from all backgrounds who are extremely frustrated with the current operating system that our county has. It's not just government; it's economy, the way our schools operate, all kinds of things. And they've completely walked away from the political process. And so, for me, I think it's important. This is an important decision that you have, because I think that it will go a long way in restoring hope, confidence, and it might, in some way, invite more folks back into the public square in the process of deliberating. It's a big decision that I think you have before you. Did I answer your question?
I think you did.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Berliner.
Mr. Galvin, thank you for your contribution to our community, and your eloquence here is quite striking. I appreciate you raising the fact that you have restructured your arrangement with Impact Silver Spring. Can you give us a sense as to what you perceive to be your time commitment in that restructured world?
So I am intending to spend as much time as needed here. This will be my primary. This would get my primary attention, and because of the way that I restructured my work with my board and my staff, we're bringing on a new managing director. I'll be focused more on the strategic possibilities, and so a lot of my work will probably happen in the evenings and on weekends, probably when y'all are out campaigning. I'll be working on the business of impact.
Councilmember Leventhal.
Yeah, I haven't been asking questions of every applicant, but where an applicant says something that provokes my interest, I have taken the liberty. So basically, in your response to Councilmember Navarro's question, you indicated that you felt that our African American constituents are kind of in one of two baskets. One is a group that are doing well and have become credentialed, but are angry at sort of the state of Black America and where it stands with respect to disparities. And then the second group was people who are generally cynical and disengaged and don't trust the political process and have dropped out. Is it possible that there are any constituents out there who are generally satisfied and who are feeling like county government's working okay and their kids are getting a good education, and therefore I grant what you say, that we don't have heavy participation from African Americans generally in this chamber. That's a valid point. But is it possible that some of our constituents are kind of satisfied with the service they're getting and don't see the need to show up and complain or ring our bell or email us because everything's pretty much all right? Does anyone fit in that category?
If they do, I have not experienced them in mass, and they're probably out there, and I would be willing to bet that you would probably know better than I do, because I know that your phone rings off the hook when things are not right. And so, but I can tell you overwhelmingly, we're seeing those polls, and there are more folks who are disengaged. And the only thing I would edit your question, which I really appreciate. I don't think Black folks are mad at the state of Black America. I think they're mad at America. That's the only edit I would make to your question. But they're possibly there, Mr. Leventhal. But I don't witness them often yet.
Councilmember Navarro.
I just found that to be an interesting exchange, because I think that one of the issues that I know I personally am trying to track is the increase in participation of people of color when it comes to hearings, when it comes to decisions on land use, when it comes to budget decisions and things like that. And it's something that I've been very interested in for as long as I've been in public service, which is in a decade, of how do we build the infrastructure from our side to facilitate that participation. So that's just one metric that I use, and I always say that, the day that I'm in a public hearing and I see a room that reflects our community and as a whole, our county, that's the day when I'll feel satisfied that hopefully there is a real equitable distribution of people who are very satisfied.
Well, thank you very much. This has been a great information sharing. We appreciate you taking the time and being willing to serve the residents of District 5. And so we thank you for your application. We wanted to let you know that we'll be making a decision probably by next week, and we'll be notifying you of that. So I wanted to thank you very much for coming out today.
Thank you.
Thank you.